Story going around in royal circles that Meghan Markle's prepared once again to sit down and correct those truth bombs, as she called them, or as Oprah called them, your truth, once again in front of the television cameras. But how true is this story? And really, what would Meghan have to say this time around? Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London. Hope you're all keeping well, fine and dandy. Thank you for joining me today. This beautiful building next to me here, as you can see from the blue plaque, is the former home of Lord Randolph Churchill, statesman. Lived here in the 1890s, that sort of stuff, 1800s. A marvellous place, literally just round the corner in Edgware Road. When you think about it, these people, didn't they live grand? So near to all the shops as well. Don't think there was a Waitrose or a Tesco's or anything like that when they were there, obviously. But when you think about it, they all lived around the areas of open green, because just round that corner is Hyde Park, round the other corner, of course, is Park Lane. Marvellous when you think about it, but of course, they had the power, they had the money. I often say here on the show, remember, blue plaques are free. You can just wander around London and you see where some of the most amazing people lived, and kind of wonder what it must have been like with them walking through those big black doors with their servants opening them. You get a real sense of Downton Abbey coming to life. Is it just me? Do you people enjoy this stuff? I love it, I love looking around and thinking, this is what's gone on before. We're creating nothing new. And that's very similar to the Breaking Royal story that's happened today. Now, as we know, Meghan Markle seemingly, when you compare her to somebody in history, a lot of people have been saying recently, she's very similar to Wallace Simpson. I disagree. When you think about Wallace Simpson, she was far more reserved, didn't believe in doing interviews, and certainly not spilling all the secrets across tabloid newspapers. No TV back then, of course, in the 30s. But she really was a reserved American. Whatever people think, she did kind of her best, if you like, to keep the royal family and the bombshells that she was dropping, or he was dropping at that time, intact. Not very similar, of course, really, when you think about it, to Meghan Markle, who sat down just over a year ago now with Oprah Winfrey and decided to tell her story, her version of events. But now it seems that Meghan herself has looked at the bad press, or her team, should I say, that she pays a lot of money to, have looked at this incredibly bad press and thought, well, what can we do? Now, as we know, there were lots of things left unanswered in the Oprah Winfrey interview. The things about Archie's skin colour, him not being a prince, the fake wedding, allegedly. All of these things, really were a very strange concoction for an interview that a lot of people criticise Oprah Winfrey for. But now the story goes that Oprah Winfrey is ready to sit down again. So we've done a little bit of digging here and spoken to the people at Harpo Productions. I have a very good source out there who tells me this story is an intriguing one in itself, because while Oprah Winfrey herself has currently no plans or no time to sit down with Meghan Markle, read of that what you will. And remember, they were besties at that high point, with even Oprah Winfrey going online and gushing all about, of course, how she loved Meghan's new sustainable coffee, whatever it was called back then. So the idea really, which has come around, is that Meghan and Harry would now like to sit down once again to perhaps correct some of the incorrect things they said the first time around. Will it work? Well, according to that good source, Oprah doesn't really like to repeat things. What I'm really reading, though, is that Oprah Winfrey, and as ever we have to say allegedly, was rather hurt naturally by the backlash that interview received. After all, she allegedly sat down in good faith and got their version, their truth of events. She had no idea really how bad this would turn around, because now, as you can see, not much trace of it is on the internet. That's because they've tried to get it removed, the bulk of it at least, but there are still versions out there. Now, for Meghan and Harry moving forward, they're continuing to look at ways to make sure that they can get their correct version, their truth, out there to the various people that they want their story to be heard by. But this time around, really, would anybody be interested? Has that fire now simply simpered out? Whichever way you look at it, Meghan's simply not giving in. And with Ellen now crashing and burning thanks to her show going, Oprah simply now going off the boil, who's next in the firing line to sit down with Meghan? As ever, when I know more, you'll know more. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.